What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we had the final review on the usacc group build for 2025, and this is the Revell 1968 Dodge Dart. This was picked by Kim over at Kim's Model Customs, and wonderful pick, Kim. This is a really cool kit, really highly anticipated kit, and this is the way I took mine. I wanted to look like mine was pretty heavily used back in the day, so we got it all rusty and stuff, and I wanted to look like it was kind of restored some way, but we'll show you that here in a sec with the engine plant we put in it and the interior and stuff. But I want to look like this. They left the body alone. They didn't want to touch the body, and the body is all rusty and stuff, and it actually turned out really good. I'm actually really happy how this turned out. So let's go ahead and show you exactly what things I did to my particular version. So the color was from Splash Paints. This is actually called Lemon Twist, and this is the actual factory color from Dodge back in the day. They used it on a Dodge Dart. They used it on the Roadrunner, I believe. They used it on a couple other vehicles they had. Not the one order, that's Plymouth. A couple other vehicles, they use it on Charger and stuff. So it's a really nice color, and I wanted to do obviously a factory color, obviously it's all rusty and stuff. This rust was actually the rust or the rock salt technique. There we go. So we got the rust color on there, and we got the rock salt on there. It looks pretty darn good. And yeah, it turned out way better than I thought, and it looks really cool. So a couple of modifications we did to it. We did put the little exhaust right here, as you can see, and you'll know why that is here in a sec when we show you the engine plant. And we also got a little gauge right there, and that is for a specific feature that this engine has that I put onto it. I did do some photo edge on here. We got the Model Car Garage photo edge set for this particular kit. So that includes the grill, that includes these hood guys right here. That's actually really nice detail, because the kit one, it's kind of big and it kind of bulky. So that looks really good as photo edge. And then a bunch of interior bits and pieces in it as well. We got the center console and stuff for the interior, but we'll get to the interior here in a little bit. But all the chrome, I stripped all the chrome and we painted it in like aluminum, like a dark aluminum. But it's just a regular aluminum finish. So that's what we did to the chrome, because I wanted to look like this chrome was pretty dulled out. So that's why it turned into aluminum look. The wheels and tires are also 3D printed. Those are really nice wheels. I think they're like 19 or 20 inch wheels. So they're 19 inch wheels with with the small profile tires, and they look really cool. And these wheels, these are actually the Mopar wheels, but custom. Obviously, for being custom, they're bigger, but basically the same look as the actual stock Mopar wheels. These wheels actually did come with the hubcaps, but I wanted to take the hubcaps off and just have the lug nuts show, and just have it that kind of like stock look and just kind of beat up look as well. So it looks really cool. Of course, we dusted them up a little bit. We put a little bit of buff on them, so it has that little bit of leather look to it, just like the actual vehicle does. And also all the chrome trim accents, we did the silver Sharpie. I don't normally do Sharpie. Actually, I tried to use, I tried to do the dull chrome from Revell foil, and for some reason it was not sticking, because I think the paint is matte. I used matte clear, and the Revell foil would not want to stick whatsoever. So we just used Sharpie, and it turned out pretty good. I'm actually pretty happy with that. The black stripe decal was actually from the kit. I actually wanted to look like it was this little special edition, so we put that on there. Of course, we tore it up, we stripped it, all that good stuff, put holes in it like the actual paint job is. So it looks pretty cool. I'm actually really happy how that turned out. So that's pretty much about it for the exterior. I mean, it looks really good, and the rust looks absolutely amazing. I'm actually really happy how that turned out. Let's go ahead and go to the interior. The interior, I kept it mostly stock, actually mainly stock. I wanted to look like they restored this interior, so it's all black. vinyl from is actually interior black from Ammo by Meg. It has that like leather look kind of touch to it. So I kept the stock seats, stock dashboard. I believe I kept the stock. Yes, I kept the stock steering wheel. And the interior looks good. We did black flocking, and then like I mentioned, there is some photo etch in there as well from Auto Car Garage. That includes the kit with the grills and stuff, which is the center console, some things on the door panels, and a couple of touches here and there is photo etch in there. Is actually pretty cool. It livens up the detail as well inside. So the interior, like I mentioned, I kept it mostly stock, but it looks really good. I didn't want to go no custom or anything like that. They just restored it, you know, replaced the seats or restitched the seats, what they had to do to make it, you know, kind of comfortable to drive it in. So yeah, the interior looks pretty good, and I'm actually really happy how that looks. The chassis, we kept it mostly stock. We did, of course, move the exhaust to the quarter panel, and the underside we did a little bit of rust here and there as well. Like obviously this car's under storage for a while and just kind of got built up some rust. Did some wiring here and there. We got some brake lines and stuff going on, so we got all that wired up and stuff. And yeah, the chassis looks pretty nice. And then for speaking of chassis, we did the upgraded chassis on the engine bay, which is a Praetorian chassis that basically it's basically custom. So that's the only thing that's basically only custom on this car. Basically, a Praetorian chassis does it deletes the fenders, the stock fenders that's in the body, and it's the suspension into one chassis, so you can go without any fenders and stuff. Because obviously with the fenders, with the stock chassis and stuff, you have to have the stock suspension attached to the fenders. But since the Praetorian chassis eliminates that, we can just delete the fenders in the interior or the engine bay, and it has a nice open in there. So yeah, the Praetorian chassis looks really cool, and that is actually from 19 Design over on Instagram. He's also on Cold 3D. And speaking of engine, let's go ahead and go under it so we can go ahead and pop this engine or the hood off, and we're going to display that beautiful N.Y.S. This one, I want to be completely different. I noticed a lot of people were doing this build. They were doing the V8, obviously the Hemi, which is more common because the Dodge Dart Hemi. But I want to do something completely different. So we went ahead and put in an N.Y.S engine here. This is a Dodge Slanted 6. I got off of Codes 3D. I'll provide a link down below to all the files that I use for this build, for the wheels, the engine, and the Praetorian chassis. But the engine turned out so good. I wired and plumbed this thing like crazy because obviously it's really visible. You can basically see everything on this engine bay. So I wired, plumbed the distributor wires, the turbo, all that good stuff. And speaking of which, yes, I did say turbo. I added the turbocharger to this thing. So we got a nice little turbocharger in this engine bay, or on this little N.Y.S, and it looks really good. So that's what that little gauge cluster is on top. That is the actual gauge for. That's actually, I want to call that a boost gauge. So instead, they were probably a little too lazy. They didn't want to run the wires under the firewall and stuff and make it into the interior. So like, F it. We're going to put it right onto the intake. So we're going to just drill a hole out of the hood and just have it stick out of the hood because we don't care. So that's what we did, and yeah, it looks really cool. Of course, we got some butter lines in there. Like I mentioned, I got fuel lines. I got distributor lines, distributor plugs and stuff all wired and plumbed. Coolant lines. We did the engine in the orange. I did not have any Hemi orange on hand, so that is actually just Tamiya red and Tamiya orange, just plain red and plain orange. And I put about, I think it's like 60 or it's about 80% the orange and 10% of the red, and it gives it that nice dark orange, and it actually looks really accurate to the Hemi orange. So that worked out really good. So 80% orange from Tamiya and 10% of the Tamiya red, just plain red and orange, and it mixes together and it turns out to be a beautiful Hemi orange. And so that turned out really good. We got some aluminum belts and pulleys in there from Parts by Parks. There we go. and the engine looks so good. I'm actually really happy how this engine looks, and it's different. It's definitely different. Of course, we got the Portorian chassis with the air suspension, and it just deletes the fenders all together. And it just looks so mean and just so cool. And the horsepower, you know, you might not believe me, but I googled it with this engine with the turbocharger. This thing makes just as much, if not more, horsepower than the stock V8 Hemi that this, you know, car comes with. So it's insane. So yeah, it's making well over 400 horsepower. Hit. So that's pretty insane for inline 6 turbocharged. And one more thing is, you might notice I am missing a little indicator light right there. That is because we have the turbo line, or the turbo cooling hose going directly right from the turbo to there. So it's gonna it's getting direct air right into the turbo. So more air going to the turbo, more happier the turbo, and more happier the turbo, more power, more boost you're gonna get in your engine, and more horsepower you're gonna get out of it. But other than that, guys, that's it. That's my USAC group build for 2025. Kim, like I mentioned, awesome pick. I'm looking forward to see who you pick for next year's build, and hopefully, you know, looking forward to see what they pick for next year's build as well. The USAC build is an awesome build, and it just comes together as a community. Everybody's building basically the same exact kit, and I'm going to tell you right now, everybody's kit is going to be, everybody's build is going to be completely different from each other, and that's a really cool thing about this group build. So, hope you guys enjoyed my version. I am going to go on YouTube and for spending the next good 10 hours on there and look at everybody else's final reviews. Looking forward to it. But other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed, and until my next video, we'll catch you guys next time.
I'm in love.